So this story I'm telling is about a time that I accidentally went on 2 Tinder dates at the same time. You know, how does that happen, right? So I actually wrote this as a short story originally. It's called Tinder XO Tinder, and I'm a co-author of a book. I've published a book, and I was thinking, like, in the next publication that I would do, I would publish this, but actually, whenever that would be. But I'm thinking, like, in the publication after I do this, whenever that would be, I would include this story. So, without further ado, I want to start the story off. I don't want to say the people's actual names in it, so the two guys that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to give them different names. I'm going to be giving them, the first one I'm going to be called Gerald, and the second one I'll call Jeremiah, both J's. So we're going to go with that. So the story takes place about a year ago. It was during summer semester last year. And during reading week, I decided to go to Taiwan because I was like, you know, like, Taiwan's such a great country. I have friends there, and it's really queer friendly. So I hit up Taiwan, and I was like, I'm in the hostel, and I'm like, open up Tinder. I'm like, why not? Let's use Tinder. You know, it's fun. And it's fun, like, you know, and you're in another country too. You're like, let's do it. So then I go on the first date with Gerald, and, you know, he's like, he's a guy. And so basically, like, he just shows me around the area and stuff, and, like, you know, I spend the night at his place, and I come back and I'm like, yeah, I guess he's a cool guy, but, like, I'm not that into him. I don't think I'm gonna see him again. And so I'm at the same time I'm talking to Jeremiah, I'm talking to the other guy, and they're having a vigil for the Orlando shooting in Taipei, so that's really great. Like, you know, this such horrific events that happen. It's really sad, and, you know, it's such a tragedy what happened. And I think it's really great that the Taipei queer community was having an event for that. And so then I was like, so he's telling me that they're having this event, and we're gonna go on a date that day. So I'm like, oh, I love to come to the event because I think it'd be such great way, like, you know, to attend this vigil. And then at the same time, Gerald, that guy, the first guy, he messages me and he's like, so what are you doing today? And, like, you know, like my dating advice says, always be yourself. I'm a pretty honest person, so I replied to him like, oh, I'm going to the vigil that they're having for Orlando shooting in Taipei. They're having it at Ximending, which is the gay area. And so I tell him about what's happening because I think it'd be a good thing for him to be part of the queer community in Taipei. So I tell him where it's happening and when it's happening. And so then I go to the vigil, and I'm like, I bring one of my friends with me from the hostel. I asked the second guy, Jeremiah, I'm like, can I bring her? And then he's like, yeah, that'd be great. So then we go there, and he's like, look for black pants. So I'm looking all over for black pants. and I see black pants. I'm like, oh, this is a guy. Like, he seems really cool. And, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like, second guy, Gerald, he's like, hey, and I'm like, I just try to keep a respectable distance from him. Cause, like, I'm with the first guy there, and at the same time too, I'm like, I didn't really mean to see him there. He just showed up, and I'm there at the same time. So coincidence that we'd be there in the same location. So we attend the vigil. It's really nice, and then afterwards, the second guy, Jeremiah, he's like, oh, like, we're gonna go for food. You wanna go for pizza? And I'm like, no, I wanna go try some Taiwanese food. And then we go out to a restaurant, but, like, at the same time, the first guy is there, and he's like in the same proximity as us. And then so then the first guy, like, that's the second guy, Jeremiah, he thinks, he's like, oh, is that your friend? And I'm like, yeah. And so then he asks him, like, do you want to come along with us? And he's like, if you don't mind. And, like, I minded, but, like, I didn't say anything, you know, I tried to be respectful and stuff, but, like, yeah, he ended up coming along.